First at 5. From the University of Florida's College of Journalism and Communications, you're watching WUFT News.
So what we turned Gainesville in, or what this plan that we have is trying to turn Gainesville into a bad place.
The death of Aaron Hernandez has the entire nation talking.
The former Gator football player was incarcerated before being found by authorities in his cell early this morning. Less than a week after an emotional celebration, as he was cleared of double murder charges, the former New England Patriot was found dead in his jail cell as a result of apparent suicide.
Less than a week after an emotional celebration as he was cleared of double murder charges, former New England Patriot Aaron Hernandez is now dead, found early this morning inside his prison cell after an apparent suicide.
My understanding is Mr. Hernandez was in a solitary confinement, probably for his protection.
Behind bars since 2013, when he was arrested, then eventually convicted in the shooting death of his friend and semi-pro football player, Odin Lloyd. Prison officials say Hernandez tried to block his cell from the inside before hanging himself with a bedsheet.
Within a jail cell, it's even a little more shocking because you'd think that there would be people paying attention, watching what's happening.
His family and legal team say they're shocked and surprised by his death, especially as Hernandez began the appeal of his murder conviction. Attorney Jose Baez in a written statement saying Aaron was looking forward to an opportunity for a second chance to prove his innocence. Hernandez played his last game as a Patriot in 2013. Today, many of his former teammates were at the White House celebrating their Super Bowl championship.
Sad story with a sad ending, and there's really no winners.
Tonight, his attorneys are calling for a transparent and thorough investigation into Hernandez's death.
And prison officials say an investigation into the circumstances surrounding his death is continuing here.
A land development update for Gainesville could mean a growing skyline for the city.
WUFT's Austin Landis learned more about the update today and joins us from the newsroom. Austin, how would this update change how Gainesville looks today?
Well, Maggie, Evan, right now this new landmark building, the Standard, is 10 stories, the tallest thing built in Gainesville in recent years. But if a proposed land update goes through, you could see a lot more buildings this size and even taller.
Mark Goldstein was mayor of Gainesville in 1980 and says he's been fighting big development for years.
These folks then approved over our objections 6 stories, and then a former commissioner came down and said, well, we want 8. And neighborhoods and public came out and said, well, this is Gainesville, Florida. It's not Orlando.
Now developers can build up to 10 stories, though sometimes needing special permission depending on the location. But a proposed land development update would max out building height at 14 stories with a permit, 12 by right. Goldstein worries about the density and the traffic congestion at street level.
Going to walk safely. How are they going to cross the street? How are they going to ride their bikes?
Some business owners see growth in Gainesville as a good thing.
I think it's a positive. I think it's going to allow for not only larger projects, but projects that create more of an economic impact in the terms of an investment into the city of Gainesville and the creation of jobs.
Building height isn't the only thing included in the land update. The city is also proposing requirements to ease traffic and increase green space. Goldstein is worried Gainesville will become a different place.
Developers from all over high development world will come to Gainesville. Out of town, big businesses like this one that came here. We'll just stick up these tall buildings, see if we can make money, and who cares about Gainesville? We do.
The City Commission will have a public meeting for the first reading of the development update on May 18th. If at least 4 of 7 commissioners eventually approve the changes, they could go into effect as early as June. Austin Landis, WUFT News.
Thank you, Austin. Well, Evan, I think that we skipped spring and went straight to summer because it has been so warm recently.
I agree, and I could really use a break from this heat. I hope some cooler conditions are on their way. WUFT's Grayson Jarvis joins us from the Weather Center.
The next few days as high pressure has settled over the area, and we'll be keeping temperatures roughly the same that they have been over the next few days heading into the weekend. Let's look at the temperatures outside right now. 85 degrees in Gainesville and Ocala and Bronson, 87 in Crystal River, and 82 in Cedar Key. Again, this is a result of the high pressure over our area right now. Let's look at the lows that you can expect going into tomorrow morning for your drive. 58 degrees in Gainesville and Bronson, 60 in Ocala, and we could be seeing some fog forming, so be careful of that. Let's look at the hour by hour going into this evening. By 8 p.m., we're going to be down to about 75 degrees, a little bit of a drop. By midnight, we're down to 66, and by 4 a.m., when people are getting up and making their morning drive, we'll be down to 61. Back to you.
Thank you, Grayson. If you live near train tracks, you might get used to the sound, except for when the engineers are blasting the train's horn.
But there is a plan to make that happen less often as more safety enhancements are built into railroad crossings.
WUFT's Delaney Klein visited today to check out the new quiet zones.
Homeowners have welcomed the news, and some have been thinking about sound pollution. The county has established 3 of these quiet zones so far along the U.S. Highway 301, and more are in the works. Marion County has teamed up with Florida DOT and CSX Railroad on a plan to have trains rumble through towns a little more quietly. They've designated quiet zones where trains won't have to sound their horns unless there's an emergency.
So basically, quiet zones are improvements made to roadways so that they no longer need to have trains honking the horns when they go through those intersections. So what they do is reduce some of that noise pollution that can come from those train horns.
This area in southeast Marion County is full of homes and various businesses. They've just been declared a quiet zone. The county says the change is possible thanks to updated crossing gate arms, medians, signage, and warning devices.
So, I mean, it improves traffic efficiency in the community, which is within the county's strategic plan.
The standards for quiet zones were developed by the state and the railroad companies. The county has established 3 quiet zones so far along U.S. Highway 301 in the Bellevue area. 4 more crossings could qualify as quiet zones within the next 2 years. As the trend grows, officials will see if there's any impact on safety. According to the Federal Railroad Administration, there were 28 deaths caused by railroad accidents in Marion County last year.
Thank you, Delaney. 4 law enforcement agencies in Florida were selected for the Excellence in Sexual Assault Response Project.
Yes, and 2 of the 4 agencies selected come from our own backyard. WUFT's Elizabeth Del Carmen spoke with one of them today about how the training will make a difference.
Ocala police officers will soon get special training on how to properly respond to victims of sexual assault. The agency will be part of the Excellence in Sexual Assault Response Project, run by the Florida Council Against Sexual Violence. First responders will participate in training meant to improve victims' experience.
So not just our detectives that may be investigating these types of cases, but starting from the forefront, from dispatch to patrol to some of our non-sworn that may come in contact with any of these victims up into the investigative process.
OPD is one of 4 law enforcement agencies picked to participate in the training, which is based on the science of trauma and how it impacts victims' reactions.
I just think we're really fortunate. It took some great teamwork amongst our agency to bring this training to us. And I know we're all looking forward to getting this training to help enhance ourselves to work with our community and our victims that we serve.
The Ocala Sexual Assault Center sees about 500 victims a year. The center hopes this will mean more victims are comfortable seeking help from law enforcement.
You're the first person on the scene. You're the crisis worker, law enforcement officer, or EMTs on the scene. The way you treat that victim has a lot to do with how she's going to recover.
OPD will begin training on May 17. Elizabeth Del Carmen, WUFT News.
This is the 2nd year the project is offered to Florida law enforcement agencies and the first for Ocala PD. About 700 responders were trained last year.
PK Young students got a special treat during their theater class today.
Actors from the Hippodrome taught a Masterclass. WUFT's Jordan McCool joins us with the details.
The class is focused on Shakespeare's play Hamlet. Students were given different techniques to deliver the scenes.
And we thought it was important to reach out to our local schools and help them bring Shakespeare to life.
As part of an outreach program, the Hippodrome Theater hosted a master class for high school students at PK Young. Although the play is hundreds of years old, the master class focused on making it understood today.
Giving an opportunity to find another way in to not only to theater, but also just to this play, this beautiful play, Hamlet. And in a way, getting them excited about this very old, 400-year-old play and asking questions, why does it matter now?
Actors from the company came to the school to teach students techniques to understanding and delivering Shakespeare's language.
Shakespeare is not a foreign language. It's some big words that we don't recognize today necessarily, but what Shakespeare is talking about is everything that we deal with in our lives.
Students were given a monologue to practice with the actors and then performed in front of the class.
One thing that I've learned so far is how to take a scene and put it into like a different kind of scenario and still make it work as if it was the same scene.
The Hippodrome Company and the PK Young theater teacher hope the students now have a better appreciation for Shakespeare.
Arts education, or the arts, is really a vehicle to live your best life. And what I mean by that is it reveals what it means to be human. And when you realize what it means to be human, you realize that you're not alone.
Hamlet is now playing at the Hippodrome and runs till May 7th. Reporting live from the newsroom, Jordan McCool, WUFT News.
Coming up on First at 5, one political host is leaving Fox News. We'll tell you more about it when we come back.
And coming up, I'm going to let you know about when you can expect some rain next, as well as some fog that will be moving through the area.